Hello and welcome to the big picture. The elections to the students' unions in Delhi University as well as JNU creates quite a buzz every time it is held, and understandably so, as it happens in the nation's capital. The political parties to which the various students' unions are affiliated also take interest in these elections and celebrate if their candidates win and try to justify desperately for the losses. The victories are immediately dumped by the winning political parties and their leaders as a reflection of the mood of the voters in a general election. However, do these elections really reflect the mood of the general voters? For instance, can we say that the results of the elections for Delhi University, which saw a sweep by a Congress-affiliated NSUI 2 days back, reflects things to come in the next year's elections to the Delhi Legislative Assembly? If so, what does the JNU election results indicate, where both NSUI and ABVP could not win any top posts? We will look at all this while asking the question, do universities' elections reflect a general political trend? To discuss this, I have with me today Sunand Singh, a CEC member of the Students' Federation of India, Deepti Rawat, a former secretary of the Delhi University Students' Union, and now a spokesperson of the BJP Uttarakhand, and N.R.Mohanty, a veteran journalist and now director of JIMMC Noida, who himself was a president of the JNU Students' Union way back in the early 1980s. Welcome to all of you. First, let me go to Mohanty. Mohanty? Yes. From your times to now, it's 30 years back that you were there in the contesting elections, and do you see a difference in the atmosphere of those days and today?
I don't go to JNU to see the elections, but
whatever you hear and read.
What I feel is that the environment, the political environment in JNU continues to be the same. Earlier, also used to say that the JNU is an island, because at a time when Congress was at the height of its glory, that time it was in fact a bastion for left politics.
Right. But it continues to be so even today.
Continues to be, but except for the fact that the traditional left, the SFI and AISF, which dominated JNU politics from 70s, they are now in the backseat. Now the extreme left, that the ISA, which was again in 80s when we were contesting elections, was a marginal group. But today they are at the center and at the very vortex of JNU politics. And they have been winning elections for the last 5 years, pushing SFI and AISF behind. And for the first time, what we see, when I contested election, the only point of our campaign, we were a small JNU group. Our group was called Students for Democratic Socialism. This is a group, we made this campaign that why should students be affiliated to organizations outside? Whether it is SFI, AISF, ABVP or NSUI, they are all dictated from outside.
By the political
They do not show out outside political parties. And they subserve the interest of the political party outside. And why should Students' Union not be an organization which only looks at the independent view of their view?
But that seemed to have succeeded only in your election. After that, that campaign has not really taken off.
Only the sloganeering does not help. To win elections, you need to build an organization. You need to have a leadership which inspires confidence among students. And you need to have a lineage, a character which carries conviction.
Okay. We are joined now by Prof.Mridula Mukherjee, a professor in the Center of Historical Studies in the JNU, and also Alka Lamba, a former president of the Delhi University Students' Union and now a very active member of the Congress Party. So let me come to Professor Mukherjee, Professor Mridula Mukherjee. It's very interesting that the question which I'm asking today is, do university elections really, results of the university's elections, do they reflect a general political trend? We see that every time there is the results come out, especially of Delhi University, it's not so much to do with the JNU. JNU has been a left bastion, as Mohanty was earlier pointing out. Delhi University election results create some kind of a buzz. The political parties take credit for it, and then they start seeing a trend in the results. Do you see that kind of a trend in these kind of election results, trend which reflects the general political mood?
I would say that given the fact that the number of the students is very large,
Right.
And it is to some extent representative. Like, for example, the recent elections that the results have just
Yes.
come out, the way I would see it is that I wouldn't see it as a one-to-one approximation, but certainly it does tell us something about our assumptions where we felt perhaps that the mood was very strongly anti-Congress. The fact that 3 of those posts could have gone to the NSUI should make us think about whether our assessments about that very strong anti-Congress mood across the board amongst all sections, is it really true or is it not true? So the fact that in this situation they could win 3 out of the 4 seats, I think is telling us something. I think it would be wrong to say there's no connection. But to make a one-to-one correlation would also be difficult, because local issues, organizational strength, the issues in a camp, and personalities, all these come into the picture.
Absolutely. In fact, let me get Alka Lamba in on this. Alka, you think that these results of the Delhi University elections, or for instance the JNU, are these an indicator of the trends?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. These are the trends are showing the current political situation, what is going on. Because when I contested the Delhi University almost 17 years before, that
Right.
time also the issue which really not related to the common student problems, the opposition raised up that issues like today. In this election also you have seen that the opponent AVVP make it the issue of the coal block or issue of like Mehengai kind of inflation. They made it that issues, and even then the Congress won with a huge margin and all the 4 seats. What it shows that yes, कांग्रेस इज इन पावर, दैट्स द रियलिटी. एंड द महंगाई जो है इट्स ऑल्सो एक मजबूरी है, बट उसका समाधान जो है वो कौन और कैसे देगा, कम से कम वो पार्लियामेंट रोक कर नहीं हो सकता है. क्योंकि हमें भी ये लग रहा था दैट इन दिस इलेक्शन द प्रॉब्लम विच इज directly concerned with the student should be the issues, but it was not happened. And why today if you are contesting this election on the national issues, then if the Congress won, then why not Mrs. Gandhi or Mr. Rahul Gandhi will come out and celebrate this victory, because the opposition make it a very big picture of this election.
Okay, Alka, I think you have made some interesting points. Let me come to Deepti. You people, were these issues part of the campaign of the ABVP in these elections, in the Delhi University elections? What were the issues?
Yeah, there were issues of national
corruption
issues
was
were
an
there.
issue?
Yeah,
Coal block allocation, 2G, all these were issues?
Yes, corruption was the issue, and apart from that, the campus issues were there, the student issues were there. But the main problem is how the NSUI handled it. Basically, the Delhi government and the national government, everybody was involved in that, and they really helped their student wing. As far as ABVP is not exactly the BJP student wing, it's RSS student wing, but it's not a BJP's student wing. We share a same ideology, but we are not student wing of BJP.
So are you trying to say that the BJP doesn't help the ABVP as much as the Congress helps NSUI?
Yeah, you can say, because BJP doesn't have any role to play in ABVP. I mean, they don't, decision making is not there in ABVP. BJP doesn't decide for ABVP actually. So that's the difference between NSUI and ABVP.
The results to the Delhi University students' elections.
Results were
all the seats have been won. All the top 3 seats have been won by the NSUI. Do you see that as a failure of the ABVP to campaign against this issue, or was it a mistake on the part of the ABVP to take up these national issues in a students' election?
No, that was not a mistake to take these issues for student election, because students should also be aware of all these issues even in the earlier stages. But the problem was that NSUI used money power, muscle power, everything in the hostels, and it's there in the Lindo committee that you cannot distribute any eatables on the
5,000 rupees.
Yes, no, you can 5,000 rupees is the limit, and you cannot distribute eatables. You cannot print the printout things. You can only have the handmade posters. But NSUI used everything. I mean, they distributed chocolates with their ballot numbers. They
Chocolates?
Yes, the Dairy Milk chocolate they distributed on the same day, the election day. They were doing it, and the printed posters were also there of the ballot number. So they, I mean, violated everything.
You are a student of the Delhi University, and what is your view on this? Because you are neither, you belong to neither of the two major political parties which have a major say in Delhi.
But I am part of SFI, which
Yes.
also participates in DUSU.
Absolutely.
So actually, I would like to take forward Deepti's point. See, politics is not only about what issues which organization raising.
So did SFI also raise all these issues of national issues like corruption and price rise and things like
What
that in your
SFI is
campaign?
trying to do, we basically raise the issues, campus level issues, and try to link them with the broader issues. Coming to the DUSU elections, the politics is not only about which organization is raising which issue. It also shows the balance of forces at the present moment of time. And if you look after the recently held DUSU elections, the 28 colleges of Delhi University which are under the Delhi government, the governing bodies of those colleges held meetings with the Congress leaders. There were actually entire administration and the state machinery came forward to ensure that this election, the result went in favor of the NSUI. And because this election actually matters in the overall national political scenario when the...
You think so?
Yeah, obviously.
You think these elections reflects some kind of a
No,
trend?
I won't say that it reflects, but the results certainly will impact the overall political scenario in the present situation. Particularly when the Congress party is in a difficult situation due to the corruption charges and all that. So that's why the Congress party felt that it was necessary to mold the elections. Actually, I would say mold. And I would even go on to say that to some extent these elections were also rigged.
No, when you
See,
say when you say it was molded or rigged or things like that, you're also reflecting the attitude of the students who have gone and voted. That means that they're also vulnerable to these kind of things.
Yeah, obviously they are vulnerable. They are vulnerable when there is a conscious propaganda from all kinds of sources that the university elections should be kept away from politics within the quotation marks. When there is such kind of propaganda, when there is massive apoliticism, when there is such a scenario, then obviously the student community is vulnerable to these kinds of attack. And particularly in the elections which are and particularly in the university, where you see in the last few years, the Delhi University has been used as a laboratory of the kind of reforms that is going to be made in entire country in the coming days.
What do you mean by this? Laboratory for reforms? You're talking of economic reforms?
No, not economic. I'm talking about the reforms in the higher education.
Higher education. Okay, that's interesting, Professor Mukherjee. I mean, these two youngsters have very interesting points of view. But how do you view these points of view? Sunand says that these elections are rigged and molded and things like that. I mean, you have been interacting with students all your life. Are they vulnerable to these kind of things?
But, probably spoiled by JNU.
You're spoiled by JNU, right.
I think it's difficult, whatever else may happen there, generally no allegations of rigging and all that. The elections are all organized by the students. And of course, for Delhi University, I think these kind of allegations and counter allegations, I'm sorry to say, are quite common.
Right.
So it's not really possible to say, yes, there must be substance in these allegations, because whichever side loses has a tendency to in a sense, blame the other side for
Another-
having, I mean, these are
normal. This
yeah,
happens.
and I think
No, but let me come to a more substantial issue. Do you think that the students' unions elections now are political in nature? Do you think the students are political in nature now? Say when you compare it to in the days of Mohanty when he contested elections 30 years back, the atmosphere in this country has changed quite a lot, right?
I would say much less. I think in some ways it is reflective of society in general, where in a sense what is important is your career advancement. Your emphasis should be on seeking a professional career. So most people in any case will go into medicine and engineering. The ones who somehow escape that come into the university system, and there is a much greater pressure, I think, on students to think of careers and working towards that career much earlier than used to be.
Right.
In the sense, the leisure to really, during your college years, to read widely, to participate in this, that and the other, and think of career as something that will happen after that.
Right.
Somewhere that's, I think, got lost because of this whole, it's a much, you want everything quicker, You want that the job placement will happen in the campus before you finished your degree. You want to be sure, and if you haven't got it, you start feeling insecure. I mean, I wonder how we survive, because you see this insecurity almost pervasive. Why is there not a placement cell in JNU? It's like because we think our graduates will get jobs anyway. So,
Deepti, how do you, the statements, what Professor Mukherjee was talking about. Do you see that as a reality among the students that there is not much time for reflection, not much time for study, not much time for debate and discussion about what's happening? You want everything to happen fast.
Yeah, I agree with Dr. Mukherjee in that, because career is nowadays, and the other activities, like they are more, the youth is going towards that side more, other than the student activism, which used to be earlier.
Right.
The student activism has cut down nowadays.
We need to continue this discussion. It's very interesting. We will come back to all our guests and discuss about how students, how much politically aware are they, and what are the ways in which they get their political awareness. We will discuss this. We need to go into a short break now. Please keep watching. We'll be back very soon. Welcome back. We are discussing the issue of universities elections and asking the question, do they reflect the results of these elections? Do they reflect a general political trend? Let me go to Alka. Alka,
Yes, sir.
see, it's very, since NSUI has won the DUSU elections this time, it's very easy for you people in the Congress party to say that it reflects a general political trend. Next year the elections to Delhi Legislative Assembly is happening, so you all must be very happy with what is with the kind of results. But I was just going through some of the past results, and in 2008-9 it was the ABVP which won the election. The president was an ABVP candidate, but still the Congress party won the elections in 2008 in Delhi. But so do you think that this celebrations at this point of time is necessary, or is it relevant?
See, so I'm not seeing this result that it will be related to the next Delhi Assembly election or 2014, the Parliament election. But yes, the issue which raised up by this opposition or BJP or their student wing ABVP in this DUSU election, either is a coal scam or is a inflation or is a corruption. This referendum, this result shows that the youth or the students still have faith on the government, that it should be continue, and whatever the issue they raised up and the way they raised up, they stopped the parliament, everything. This gave it the message that this is not the way. Especially they showed their anger against the opposition or their student wing that this is absolutely not the way, that you are stopping the parliament, stopping many bills to come into the existence, and the way you are moving it.
Okay.
Frankly, I'm telling you, this is a great message for the opposition by this results.
And it's a great defense of your party and your government, Alka. Please stay back, Mohanty. You know, this celebrations of different political parties, that when they win, and this kind of. But let us look at the JNU election results. DUSU results gives Congress this hope. But it's very interesting. Here we have a SFI member, but in the JNU elections, there's a rebel SFI which has won the elections. What would that indicate? Does it indicate the general trend of the supporters of CPIM, at least among the youth class, rejecting their policies, their programs?
Actually, I don't know. This question of correlating the national trend with the student politics trend is absolutely absurd. You look at it, as you rightly said, last 2 years, ABVP had won elections.
Right.
When Congress was in power in center and Congress was in power in the Delhi state. How was ABVP winning? If there would have been a correlation. So it just does not happen. For all you know, NHY this time won because of anti-incumbency. That they have been in position.
Last year also the president was
only the president, but the majority was with the ABVP. And that is the reason why it could be possible. It is possible that the Congress may lose everywhere, but Congress would win election in Karnataka, because Karnataka there will be anti-incumbency factor. In JNU, I'm saying JNU, SFI was the major political wing in the campus for many years. Till the time there was no effective opposition. We created that opposition for 1 year. We came to students and convinced them, this is an organization which is opportunist. You give us votes, we will show you a different trend. Students believed us and gave us the votes.
For 1 year.
For 1 year. But unfortunately, that is the year we laid the biggest revolution in JNU, where there was a mass strike in which 2,000 students, 1,200 boys and 800 girls went to jail on an issue which was democratic reforms of JNU campus. That SFI had never done it, but there was a backlash, yes. Backlash, the university was closed, sine die, no admissions. And thereafter I got expelled, or many of the students got expelled. And thereafter, obviously, there were no elections next year. And there, our organization disbanded. And then SFI came back with again power. That's what I'm saying. For the first time, when Bosch raised that issue, and SFI genuinely said, that's what is the democratic spirit. So, that why should we support the Mukherjee as a presidential candidate? And that's an issue on we need to have a thinking of our own. That
I'll first get,
and that's what they got it.
I'll first get Professor Mukherjee on this. Professor Mukherjee, you're looking away, but the fact is that it all happened under your nose in the JNU all these years. Mohanty's argument that why should students' unions be backed by political parties, is it a valid argument?
Whether it's valid or not, it's like saying we should wipe the slate clean and start afresh. That's a very big issue. The thing is that there's been a history of student organizations, and not just after independence. This goes back to the pre-independence period. Right. It's part of the freedom struggle tradition in many ways. Students did join nationalist politics. Students joined the SF at that time, which was the Communist Party's student wing. Of course, that student politics was very different because it was about the big politics.
Right.
It had very little to do with local issues. These were organizations like the Kisan Sabha. There was a students' union which to mobilize students for the bigger campaign. Now, what happened in the post-independence years was that this student politics took the form of local level student organizations and focus on local or immediate issues, but still connected to political parties. So you see the relationship and the issues have undergone a change, but there is that continuity and that resemblance. So it's also therefore very difficult to argue in the Indian situation that there should not be this link, because there's been a whole tradition of this link being there. But I think that it's something that needs to be discussed, talked about. But I would still like to take your point about what's happened in JNU about the SFI,
yes.
and whether that independent SFI really is reflecting what you are thinking. It's a break with
the mainstream party.
Whether it really, I don't see that. I think it was like an incidental matter. A break occurred, and they have the organizational control because these are the people who've been running the SFI.
So you think this is
in JNU? I don't know how long it will survive. I would like to see how long it can survive.
So you think it's an aberration?
Not an aberration, but I would like to see how long it will go. Because once winning an election
Sunand,
is one thing.
Quickly.
And that to one seat.
Yes. Do you think that what has happened in JNU today, where your rebel faction has managed to win the election of the president, is it a one-off thing, or do you think it is something permanent?
See, actually, what has happened in JNU, and there has been a continuous effort from all sections that the decision to dissolve the JNU unit was because the JNU unit had taken a resolution. Saying that the CPM's decision.
No, that is fine.
That is what a continuous effort has been from all sections. But as part on the SFI's part, we would like to say that was not the case. That it was made because there were certain organizational lapses by that unit, and that's why the Delhi State Committee was forced to take that decision.
But the fact that they have managed to win the post of the president means that most of the students there have accepted their line and not the party's line.
No, it has nothing got to do with the party.
Okay.
Party and SFI are two different things.
Okay, quickly. I'm completely running out of time. I just want both of you to very quickly tell me the point made by Mohanty. Do you think the students' unions should be away from major political parties or political parties? Both of you, quickly.
I have one thing that the student organizations should be independent. They should not be directed by the political parties.
Fine.
They can have ideology of that party, but should not be directed by that party.
That's the same case with SFI also, but I would like to add one more thing. As we see student movement as coupled with the broader left and democratic movement. That is how we see the whole thing. And as far as the association...
But you are comfortable with the party directing the...
No, that is not.
No, you are not comfortable. Okay.
We are independent because...
Alka, last words to you. What is your thoughts on this? Do you think the students' union should be away from political parties?
No, see, I'm not agree with that because the leaders, the students are elected today are going to be the leader of the future. So I'm seeing that joining the party right now, the ideology you believe in and the program which party is bringing, this is the right time that you join any ideology or party or so you can see your future.
Okay.
It's not for a year or 2 years things. You have a long way to serve this country.
Okay, Alka. Yeah. Professor Mukherjee, last words to you. So, it's interesting that the students, when they are students, they develop this political understanding, political thought, which way it is the ground for future politicians. Is that a very comfortable thing?
They change also very often. We have many examples in JNU of radical transformations and going and joining other parties.
We have completely run out of time, Ms. Mukherjee. That was a very interesting discussion. Do these results indicate a general political trend? The jury is still out on that, and jury will always be out on that, I think. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks to all my guests, Alka Lamba, Professor Mridula Mukherjee, Sunand Singh, Deepti Rawat, and Mr. Mohanty. Please keep watching. We'll come back with another issue on the big picture, same time tomorrow.